Great. Hey, friends. Good to see you all. Thanks so much for having me. I'm zooming in from Washington, D.C. tonight, where I am doing some county business. And it's 3 hours later here. But very happy to be here. I am running in Congressional District 3. Got in this race back in April in the old district. I got in it to fight against Trump's administration, his fascist regime, and in the form of Kevin Kiley, who was then our representative. Since then, as you know, Prop 50 changed some of these districts. This district is now a D+10, and we have the opportunity to choose what kind of a Democrat we want to have in Congress here. Since then, I've also had several men jump in the race from District 6. So at this time, except for Pacey, who's not here, I'm the only candidate who's lived in this district, worked in this district, and raised my kids in this district. So let me tell you briefly my background. I've got 3 decades of public service. As a public servant, I'm there for the people, not for profit, not for any company. 20 years in the US EPA, 10 years at the Department of Water Resources. And the last 9 years, I've served on the Nevada County Board of Supervisors, where I was on a split board where I've been really proud to deliver real results to people on the ground. I've also served on the state level, on the national level, representing counties. So lots of experience working with elected folks up and down the whole through state and the feds. This race has been just a critical race for me. It is a viable race. I've got endorsements from 25 plus other county supervisors up and down the state who've worked with me and who've seen that I listen, that I produce, that I persist, and that I'm effective. Also been endorsed by the Jane Fonda Climate PAC, which makes me really proud given my environmental background. So I've been a lifelong progressive. I've cut my teeth on women's issues and maintained that support of women throughout my life at every level. I've supported immigration rights because I believe in a better immigration system for us, and it's a family value since I'm married to proudly married to the son of a Mexican immigrant, and our kids are all Latino. I'm a proud supporter and protector of the LGBTQ community. I also have a number of LGBTQ folks in my family who I love and support and protect and celebrate. So, really committed to these values that I hold and these issues. In Congress, my main work is going to be to make this economy work for working people. That means repealing the billionaire's tax cut, putting in a wealth tax, protecting immigration, diving in, investing into affordable housing. I want to forgive student loan debt. I want to make sure we're going to fund universal child care. Lots of issues that we can be doing. Repeal these ridiculous tariffs, really focusing on working people, young people, and people who are actually the ones doing the work in this country and producing all the benefits. Second thing is that I want to focus on healthcare, and I will on day one sign the Medicare for All bill. I also want to protect reproductive health rights so that women never have to have this fight again. I'm going to lean into protecting rural hospitals, which is critical. Overarching all of this clearly is that we must fight back against this administration. I want to abolish ICE, impeach Nome, get children out of detention centers that should never be happening in the first place, and make sure that these folks pay for their sins, for their illegal and unconstitutional actions. Now, on the international front, clearly there are a lot of things that are also important to me. Number one is ending the genocide in Gaza, stopping to fund the Netanyahu regime, including for the Iron Dome, and making sure that we invest in rebuilding Palestine and work on a negotiated peace. I also want to make sure we're front and center to protect Ukraine, which is fighting for all of us for our democracy, and to rebuild USAID, which has done so much good work across the world to increase democracy, to protect democracy, and to help people who are poor and need our help. Bottom line, I'm the fighter. I'm the one who's going to be in this Congress pushing hard to make sure people are held accountable and then lean in hard into making sure we have a better future for our young people, for our working people, not just sitting around clutching pearls, making strongly worded letters, but truly fighting. This house is on fire. Our democracy is burning, and we must fight, and I will do that for you. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, do we have a question for Heidi? Go ahead and raise your hand, your digital hand, and I will recognize you. If we don't have any questions from the audience, I definitely have questions um, from, we'll call it the gallery. Okay, we have a question. All right, Beth, go ahead, please.
So it looks like Democrats will take Congress, which is great news. If that's the case, Heidi, do you support impeaching Donald Trump, or should we focus on repairing the damage that he's done beyond impeachment?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, we can do more than two or three or three, four things at once. Trump must be impeached at this time, and we must be also repairing the damage that he's done. I was just in meetings today with Senator Schiff and Padilla as for my county work, and even so, what I asked them is, are they working on a plan right now for health care for when we take back the Congress in 26? So we have to hold people accountable. Otherwise, we will be dealing with this again and again. Not just Trump, but Nome, the insanity of how ICE has behaved. That has to be stopped and prosecuted. People need to go to jail. But then we also need to sort of pull back the damage that's been done and reinvest in our future.
Very nice. All right. Thank you for that question. All right, Lauren, let's have you go ahead with your question, please.
Um, well, first, it's interesting that you mentioned ice, Heidi, because that was going to be part of my question.
Okay.
What can we do to make sure that the stuff that's happening in Minneapolis does not happen here to that extent?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now we need our representatives in Congress on the Democratic side to be doing every single thing in their power, and we're going to need indivisible and 501. We need the groups that are organizing people on the ground to keep doing that. We all need to be showing up in the streets like they did in Minneapolis, and we need to be pressing our representatives to do so much more than they have been, frankly. So we've got to, once I get in there, we have got to abolish ICE. We cannot reform it. It's too far gone. Those people, all of them need to be fired. They need to be prosecuted for murders if that's what's happened, for those who have murdered people in the street. And then we have to look at why we're doing this in the first place, which means we have to look at our immigration system. And I'm a big fan of a robust immigration system that is fully funded, where we're letting people in this country who do so much for this country and processing them in a humane way. But in the short term, we need to make sure our representatives are pushing back in every possible way and stop this madness.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to take one more question from Rosalie.
Hi,
Thank you.
Heidi.
Go ahead.
It's Rosie. I just wonder, I had a discussion with the editor of the Auburn Journal because I wrote something about ICE, and he said, we don't have that here in Placer County. They're not here. I just wondered whether you have heard that, yes, they are in here in Placer County.
They have definitely been in Sacramento, and I'm sure that they have been seen. I think we've seen them in Placer County. We think we've seen them in Nevada County. My husband is part of NorCal Resist's work where they are keeping an eye and making sure people know where they are. There have been a lot of false reports lately, clearly because people are afraid. So there's a lot more education and learning we have to do in our communities to know how to recognize when they are here so that we aren't giving false information out. I'm sure they have been nearby, and I know they are going to show up here. We have immigrant population in all these counties here in this district. And besides that, I learned again today, we are clearly still one of the #1 targets of this administration, and they're going to do everything they can to terrorize this state. So I think we all need to be well prepared for that.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Heidi, so very much. Appreciate it. We appreciate you putting yourself out there and really going for it. So thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us on your busy schedule.
Thank you
Thank you
all
very
so
much.
much.